Today is April 28th, and this is the 2 p.m. session. Okay, so 5 minutes is up, and you may now begin your group discussions and come up with your team's answers. Once you're done, please inform me and I'll collect your team answers.
So,
What do you guys have?
okay, so we can't show each other. So we could.
We can verbally say, right?
Verbally, yep.
Oh, okay.
We can just say it out loud.
Yeah, so I have Mr. Kelly's bloodstains were found on the carpet in the hall outside Mr. Jones's apartment. I have a lot of shit about Mr. Kelly.
Yeah, he was the one who died.
Yeah.
I think that the wife, Mrs. Kelly, and I think
I
that
didn't hear about her.
Me neither.
okay, well apparently Mr. Kelly's wife, like she always goes to like Mr. Scott's apartment, and Scott and Mr. Kelly's wife weren't found after the murder, so I think Mr. Scott murdered the guy.
We can
Because
separate
they were having an affair.
by each, like, sectionally. We can say what we have
Yeah.
for motive, what we have for weapon, what we have for time.
Let's see. He was found at 1:30,
1:30.
and his body. It said he was
Oh,
dead
it's
for an
found in the
hour
park.
before they found him
His body was found in the park.
in the park.
On the park. I have that the elevator operator reported to the police that he saw Mr. Kelly at 12:15 a.m. And the elevator
Okay.
man saw Mr. Kelly go to Mr. Scott's room at 12:25 a.m.
I have Miss. Oh, that's not right.
Sorry.
Miss Smith saw Mr. Kelly go to Mr. Jones's apartment at 11:55 p.m. So that's like how long before that?
I had
5 minutes.
the elevator
That
man
makes
went
sense.
off duty at 12:30, and saw Mr. Kelly's wife go to Mr. Scott's apartment at 11:30.
Wow, they moved a lot.
Elevator man. When the elevator man saw Mr. Kelly was bleeding slightly, but he did not seem too badly hurt.
So it
Oh.
wasn't a shotgun, because if it was, he would be.
Yeah, definitely was.
It was probably a
Oh,
knife.
where's the thing? Shit, oh, I have it
I
here.
have-
Oh, when he was discovered dead, Mr. Kelly had a bullet hole in his thigh and a knife wound in his back.
A knife one.
Mr. Jones shot at an intruder in his apartment building at 12, and then
At 12.
yeah, Mr. Jones had told Mr. Kelly that he was going to kill him.
There you go.
Mr. Jones.
I think
Well,
Yeah, he has
Yeah.
motive because Mr. Kelly had
Yeah.
destroyed Mr. Jones' business by stealing all of his customers.
and Mr. Kelly went to Mr. Jones's apartment at 11:55.
yeah, but you said he was like shot and stabbed.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was shot by Mr. Jones and stabbed by Mr. Scott.
So how do you die?
And it says
How
the
do you look at the
elevator
park?
operator said Mr. Kelly's
Oh,
wife
oh, I have
frequently
something for
left
the park.
building with Mr. Scott.
It was obvious that from the condition of Mr. Kelly's body that it has been dragged a long distance.
Mm.
That's probably how it ended
What else
up
do I
in the
have?
park.
Does anybody have Miss Smith? Miss Smith
I
said,
do, I do.
one. Nah, that's
Yeah.
the only thing I have
Yeah, I
about
have
her.
that. I have Miss Smith said nobody left the apartment building between 12:25 a.m. and 12:45.
Oh. The knife found in Miss Smith's yard had Mr. Scott's fingerprints on it.
I have the elevator man said that Miss Smith was in the lobby of the apartment building when he went off duty.
So Mr. Jones and Mr. Scott both contributed.
Only one bullet had been fired from Mr. Jones's gun. What else is there?
I
Mr.
have
Kelly's
something.
bloodstains were found on Mr. Jones's carpet.
I have the bullet taken from Mr. Kelly's thigh matched the gun owned by Mr. Jones.
And Mr.
So
Jones
both
disappeared
of
after the
them.
murder.
And so did Mr. Scott and Mr. Kelly's wife. So it was the three of them. had to be.
They all killed him.
Well,
They all were
so.
in it
I
together.
think we have to find a reason first, and then we can start.
So what time was he murdered then? Because he got shot at 12.
And he left the Mr. Scott's room at 12:25.
But then nobody left.
He
the
wasn't
Twelve-twenty-
building.
Oh, he was found dead at 1:30, and it said he was dead for an hour. So that means he died at 12:30.
Like 5 minutes after he left.
Wait, then what's it? The
Yeah.
elevator man? Because the elevator man went up.
I think the elevator man killed him.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But
Maybe.
That would be so funny.
Yeah, I don't know. We got 5 minutes in there. I don't know. where else that would happen.
Because
How long do we have to figure it out?
How would they have gotten to the park from?
no, but he
was dragged to the park, right?
what if
So
people-
when did the night start?
Wait, I think Miss Smith is
What
What is the
unreliable.
earliest you guys have?
I have, I think it was
Mr.
11:55.
Jones shot an intruder and is building at 12. Oh no, I have the elevator man saw Mr. Kelly Mr. Kelly's wife go to Mr. Scott's apartment at 11:30.
11:30, and then 11:50. Mr. Kelly went to where?
Who's Miss Smith? Why is she even involved?
Because she's just saying nobody left the building between
Probably just a
12:25
witness.
and 12:45. I think she's unreliable.
Yeah, because
Let me see if you
Oh,
have
that's not
something
good.
about her. Yeah, for me, I think she's just a witness.
I think she's very unreliable.
Damn it.
she's like, oh, I didn't even think about that being
Because the
unreliable. Damn.
elevator man left at 12:30 unless somebody's lying. Because she said that nobody left between 12:25 and 12:45.
Well, this
Oh,
But he
went off
died at
duty.
12:30.
yeah,
It didn't
him
even
dying
say
at
he went off
12:30 was from a
duty.
medical
Yeah,
professional, so that was a fact.
It never said the elevator man left. It said he went off duty.
11 men said that Miss Smith was in the lobby of the apartment building when he went off duty. So Miss Smith was there.
So he couldn't have killed at because it was at 12:30. Like
Yep.
he got-
12:30.
Okay, so it wasn't the elevator man.
Okay.
That's what we
Um,
know. It's a joint effort, definitely, by Mr. Kelly.
Okay, so we
with
have
Mr. Scott,
his
and Mr.
wife,
Jones.
Mr. Jones, Miss Smith.
You think Miss Smith just did it?
Why?
I don't know.
Why? Like, we need a motive.
No, I think Mr. Scott and Mr. Jones did it because Mr. Jones hated him because he was stealing the customers, and Mr. Scott is probably having an affair with
With
his
the
wife.
with his wife, yeah.
And then they couldn't find Mr. Kelly's wife and Mr. Scott afterwards,
I feel like Miss Smith has nothing to do with it though.
but
she's
they
like
had it
she's
together.
she has to
Is
have
he-
something because she's got like bullshit information.
Oh, this lady?
Mm.
Well, maybe they didn't leave the building at the time. If he was killed then, he could have been killed in an apartment.
Oh, I
building.
have something. A knife with Mr. Kelly's blood on it was found on Miss Smith's yard.
Yep, and it had Mr. Scott's fingerprints.
So they were already outside.
Yeah, man.
Because if she said
So
nobody.
just had-
But
to
maybe
do that.
someone just threw it there just to like.
Yeah, yeah, but it had to be Mr. Scott and Mr. Jones.
Yeah. I think Mr. Jones shot him at 12, and maybe he went out into the yard at that time, and then at 12, and then Mr. Kelly and
But Mr. Kelly was at Mr. Scott's room at 12.
Yeah, what's the place of the murder?
Oh no, never mind. It
That's
was
another
12,
thing we still
25.
need. We have the. Oh no, it says there's only one. There's only one correct answer for each response. There's only one murderer.
Okay, so it had to been Mr. Scott because he stabbed him, and Mr. Jones did shoot him, but it probably didn't kill him.
What did you say about the elevator? That he
Hmm?
he left the elevator and the elevator man saw him like.
He was bleeding, but he didn't seem too hurt. So he already
That
got
was
shot in the
the-
leg. He's fine.
But do you think he can walk with a
Yeah.
shot
Yeah,
Yeah.
people can walk when they have gunshots.
Yeah,
in his thigh?
Yeah,
Yeah. probably.
you can.
Especially if your body's going into shock. Apparently, you feel it.
Yeah, but can you walk like all the way to the lobby and look
I
fine?
got shot.
Well, it said he was bloody and limping, right? On your card thingy.
He said he was bleeding, so we don't know where, you know.
It was probably a gunshot. It is possible because, have you ever seen the FBI shows and stuff? I feel like it can happen. He used to say he didn't wrap himself.
But he was probably running from someone.
Mr. Scott. Or Mr. Jones.
Or his wife, or I don't know.
His wife, Mr. Scott, is definitely having an affair.
With Mr.
Mr. Kelly's wife and Mr. Scott, I think,
Oh,
are
right.
definitely having an affair.
I don't have much on Scott. I have. Actually, I don't have anything on Scott. Oh, I have that Mr. Kelly's bloodstains were found in Mr. Scott's car.
Yeah, then he took him to the park too. And they dumped the body, then they left and to go and live their own life. There we go.
Do we still not know the place though where he was murdered?
So he was,
Where was he?
died at 12:30, right?
Yeah, where was he at like 12:30?
He left Mr. Scott's room at 12:25, so he couldn't
Yeah.
have gone like
So that
Okay,
means he
that's
could have
good.
killed him.
more.
12:25 to 12:45. Nobody left the building. If he left at 12:25,
That means Mr.
it's
Scott could have
good.
killed him.
Yeah, Mr. Scott no, because Mr. Scott the elevator man saw Mr. Kelly's wife go to Mr. Scott's apartment at 12:30 and never said when they left. I mean 11:30. It never said when they left.
Yeah, it means they're still there.
No, no.
They're
No,
probably-
he left the apartment at 12:25.
Who did?
Mr. Kelly.
Yeah, but when Mr. Scott didn't leave after that,
No.
that means he left
the
alive.
elevator man didn't see anyone, right? As you said.
That means he was alive when he left. That means
Um,
Mr. Scott couldn't have done it.
The elevator.
So we
oh,
are
no.
eliminating Mr.
The
Scott?
wait.
If he
the
left his apartment at
elevator
12:25, he
I like
died.
that idea.
Wait. The elevator operator said that Mr. Kelly's wife frequently left the building with Mr. Scott. So if they were frequently leaving the building,
That just means that's like background information. That's like
Yeah,
them
I think
having an
that's
affair.
true.
So, we don't have Mr. Scott anymore, right? Because
Who could have been that? 5 minutes later,
5 minutes later,
and it had he would.
we have Mr. Jones, and
When did he leave Mr. Jones again?
Miss Smith often followed Mr. Kelly. I also think that's very
Maybe it is Miss Smith.
Yeah, maybe it is.
Why?
Yeah.
There's no motive there. Why?
It's crazy.
Motive is crazy.
This is,
I only see a motive for Mr. John to kill him and
And
Mr. Scott.
Mr.
But
Scott.
Mr. Scott couldn't have done it because like he left his apartment.
Maybe Miss Smith liked Mr. Kelly. Maybe that's why she followed him.
psychotic.
Because it's like a miss, you know?
Oh my god. And the bullet taken from Mr. Kelly's thigh matched the
Or
gun owned by Mr.
Maybe
Jones.
people
So
actually
Mr. Jones definitely shot him, no matter what.
like maybe people
What's his
actually left and she just didn't say so because she didn't like him.
We can eliminate Mr. Jones now. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, we can.
He's
eliminate-
gone because he got shot at like 12.
Yeah.
If he was already in Mr. Scott's after that,
So
he was alive.
it's not Mr. Jones.
not Mr.
It's
Jones.
not what's his name? I always forget his name.
Mr. Scott.
Mr. Scott. It's not.
It's
Who is
Mr.
it then?
Scott.
Why is the reason? Like,
It has to be Mr. Scott though, right?
How?
Because
He
it-
left his apartment alive.
I don't have anything.
And then
wrong.
no one else left the building, and then he died.
Yeah, it's Mr. Or maybe it's like Miss Kelly.
Miss Kelly was there. She never left. No one else left the building. It had to be Miss Smith.
No, but it said like it said police were unable to locate Mr. Scott after the murder, and Mr. Kelly's wife disappeared after the murder.
That's because they didn't find him till 1:30.
Yeah, but then they knew about it.
Well, Mr. Jones was gone too.
Then do you think it was Mrs. Smith? Miss Smith?
I just don't see
I
a
don't know.
motive. Like,
I don't have a motive.
Or do you think it's
she
the
followed
other-
him, but why?
I don't know.
Maybe that's the motive. That she followed him.
Maybe there is no reason.
No, there is a right answer.
She's talking.
But didn't you say it never said when they left the building. It said they disappeared after the murder. But it said they frequently left the building, but it does that doesn't have to be background information. That could also be like they frequently left the building.
Yeah. But still, that wouldn't even really matter. Even if they keep coming in and out, why would that matter for the murder? If he already left after.
Because if they were going in and out, then they could have gone
Didn't
to.
someone say about the elevator man? Like he said no one left the building from so and so.
No, that was Miss Smith.
And that was what? She said no one
She
left.
said no one left the building between 12:45
How does she know that?
and 12:45. Because wasn't she with the elevator man? You said.
The
You said
elevator
that.
man said that Miss Smith was in the lobby of the apartment building when he went on duty.
Yeah,
And that was at 12.
that was at 12:30.
12:25, I guess.
No,
Oh,
he
12:25?
went off duty at 12:30.
He left duty at 12:30.
So that means they were all there too.
He went off.
They're
duty.
all in the building.
Yeah, all of them in the building.
So he died in the building.
But it said he done.
It said he left the building at 12:25.
Yeah.
I
So
don't
maybe
get
it
this.
was like.
Where did he die then? He might have died at his one of.
Do they all live in the same
Maybe
apartment
he
building?
stabbed himself.
It
I
was
mean,
a
like it could have
suicide.
been so
In
painful.
the back?
Oh, in the back.
Yes, he was stabbed in the back.
Okay, I didn't know that. It was Mr.
I don't
Scott.
think so. I think he was. I think he was leaving and then someone stabbed him.
It was Mr. Scott or Miss Kelly.
No, Mr.
Oof.
Oh. Or why don't we look at the wife? Like maybe she's tired of him.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, Miss Kelly. Yeah.
But then again, they said he was dragged. Do you think a wife
She
could
was
drag a
with-
guy?
She was with
Scott.
the guy. She killed him and then he was just like, I'm gonna help you. Or
Yeah.
No,
No,
not-
Mr.
not that you
Scott
messed it up.
and Miss Kelly were obviously.
But it says there's only.
husband
Well, no. I don't think they're gonna have two people.
and- No, but it doesn't
no,
mean.
one
This
killed
is
and the other one
murder.
just helped to
Yeah.
dump the
Mm.
So
body.
I think Mrs. Kelly murdered and then Mr. Scott dragged. Because they were frequently leaving the building, so they had to been doing that, you know?
Mr. Jones, Mr. Alright, so we have all the suspects. We have Miss Smith, Mrs. Kelly, Mr. Jones,
Mr. Kelly?
Mr. Scott, right?
Yeah.
And we eliminated Mr. Jones and Miss Smith, right? 'Cause she
And the
has a
elevator
reason.
man.
And yeah.
So it has to be Mr. Scott and Mrs. Kelly, but who murdered him? You said Mr. Scott's fingerprints were like found on the murder weapon.
Wait. Yeah, bloodstains were found in Mr. Scott's car,
So
so he might
You
have
know
died
it? Mrs. Kelly might have been the getaway driver, and Mr. Scott could have killed him. It was probably like Bonnie and Clyde, you know.
there. So he didn't die at the building. He didn't die at the park. He died.
In Mrs. Scott's
Car?
lawn. Didn't they say they found bloodstains on her lawn though? If it's
No,
in-
they dumped
Where's the
At the park.
The
a
knife
knife.
found in Miss Smith's yard had Mr. Scott's fingerprints
Okay.
on it.
So
But that doesn't even
probably-
say that it was the knife that anyone used. It just says the knife.
No, but I have like a knife
Yeah.
with Mr. Kelly's blood on it. It was found in Mrs. Smith's yard.
There it is. Okay. And
Okay.
that's
So Mr. Scott stabbed
Mr.
him.
Scott killed him.
Stabbed him
Mr.
and
Scott killed
chucked it. Then chucked the knife.
That's Mr. Scott killed him.
Yeah, Mr. Scott definitely killed
That's
him.
it.
We all agree?
That's it. It
Yeah.
has to be it.
And the murder
Mr. Scott
weapon
killed him.
is the
In
knife.
his car.
Oh my god, alright. Mr.
The
Scott.
weapon is a knife. The time of the murder was 12:30.
At least we got that one
The
right.
place of the murder was in the car.
Mrs.
And-
Scott's the motive.
The motive was he was
Banged his
having an
wife.
affair with the wife and wanted to just leave with the wife.
Mr. Scott.
I thought it was Mrs. Scott from the beginning. Like, she should have just filed for a divorce.
Alright. I just wanted to place the other people when he died, you know,
Mm.
where
Yeah.
they were.
So the elevator man and Mrs. Smith were in the lobby, and Mr. Jones was probably like in his apartment or something. Probably.
Okay, so today's 28th, right? So the murderer, Mr. Scott, the weapon knife, the time of the murder 12:30, the place of the murder, Mrs. Scott's car. The motive, Mr. Scott was having an affair with Mrs. Kelly.
Yeah.
That's
There we
it.
go.
So Mr. Scott was probably like, alright then. Okay.